people picture a good father, they often think of someone that's steady, who's present, calm, and dependable. That old TV dad type. The problem is that image doesn't quite fit in most families today. It belongs in the TV. Real life is full of change, full of instability. Jobs come and go, relationships fall apart, and many fathers are trying to just stay present in a world that moves too fast for anyone to catch their breath. Sociologist Andrew Cherlin calls this the marriage go-round. He says Americans are unique because we value both marriage and personal freedom. We love commitment, but we also chase independence. It's a cultural contradiction that keeps families spinning. People getting together, breaking up, and trying again. Cherlin writes, Americans have a distinct pattern. They marry, divorce, and remarry more often than people in any other Western nation. That cycle doesn't just affect adults, it reshapes what fatherhood looks like in modern America. Cherlin's advice is simple but powerful. Slow down. Don't rush into relationships and don't rush into parenting before you're ready. He explains the slowdown message implies that we should focus not only on Americans' tendency to end relationships too quickly, but also on the tendency to start relationships too quickly. The message hits home when you look at what Eden and Nelson found in Doing the Best I Can, Fatherhood in the Inner City. They spent years talking with fathers in the inner cities in Philadelphia with men who aren't so-called deadbeat society try to paint them as. These men want to be good dads. They're fighting uphill battles, unstable jobs, fragile relationships, and systems that make it hard to stay involved. One of the most powerful points Eden and Nelson found is that very few of the pregnancies were planned, but most fathers still saw them as turning points. They wrote, precious few pregnancies are either actively avoided or explicitly planned. Once a child arrives, many men treat it as a chance to rewrite their story. They explain further, having a child was not just about procreation, but it's about redemption, identity, and a chance to do something right in a world that has often gone wrong for them. For these men, fatherhood isn't about perfection, but about having a purpose. This is something I can understand, as it gave me a new view on life when I first became a father. But when relationships dissolve and involvement becomes harder, most fathers don't stop caring. It's that the system makes it harder for them to stay connected. Sociologist Sylvia Meggiolaro found that structure affects involvement. She wrote, married fathers spend more time on daily childcare activities than cohabitating fathers, suggesting that the institutional context of marriage still promotes higher paternal involvement. She also observed that union instability and non-marital relationships are associated with lower levels of paternal participation in children's everyday lives. Susan Brown adds another layer to this in her article, Marriage and Child Well-Being. She notes, children's living arrangements have become increasingly diverse and unstable, which raises important questions about how and why family structure and stability are related to child outcomes. Brown reminds us that kids benefit from consistency, not perfection, just stability, and that marriage has repeatedly been shown to be associated with positive health outcomes for women and children. Research by Anna Sarkady and her team proves that father involvement is more than symbolic. It's biological and emotionally powerful. They concluded that fathers' engagement in their children's lives exerts a unique and independent influence on the child's well-being and development. More importantly, they found that it is psychological and emotional aspects of paternal involvement in a child's infancy that are most powerful in influencing later child behavior. And that's really where Cherlin, Eden, Nelson, Meggiolaro, and Brown all point towards in a unified truth, albeit from different angles. Structure and stability matter, but what matters most is presence. When a father shows up emotionally, mentally, and physically, they anchor their children in a world that is already unsteady. They give those children a rock to stand on. At the end of the day, fatherhood isn't about fitting into some ideal. It's about showing up for those kids and helping make them their best versions of themselves. I'm a dad and will do everything I can to make sure my kids get whatever they need. And maybe that's what real fatherhood is, doing the best we can, even if we're hopping on and off the marriage go-round.